The StarCraft tragedy. On the 5th of August 2005, a 28-year-old man named Lee Sunup walked into a cyber cafe in Daegu, South Korea. He purchased a soft drink, signed into StarCraft, and started gaming. What began as hours stretched into multiple days. Observers reported he barely left his seat, only taking occasional restroom visits. By the time the second evening arrived, he had spent close to 50 consecutive hours at the computer. His body slumped, his eyes red and strained, yet he continued playing. The establishment's owner pleaded with him to quit, but Lee refused and started yet another game. As the third day broke at sunrise, he abruptly fell unconscious. Medical personnel reached him swiftly, but he wasn't responding. Upon reaching the medical facility, physicians determined he had experienced cardiac arrest caused by extreme fatigue, lack of hydration, and clots in his blood from staying still. He was declared deceased soon after being admitted. The Pokemon electrical accident. On the 9th of July 2017, in Iloilo City, Philippines, a 12-year-old child was engaged in Pokemon Go alongside his companions. The group roamed close to a building site while hunting for virtual monsters. The young boy with his mobile device scaled a metallic framework near high-voltage electrical lines overhead. People watching said he became unbalanced and grabbed for stability. His palm touched an active power line. A sharp sound rang out and he dropped immediately. His companions cried out for assistance and passers-by hurried toward them. First responders reached the location promptly, but the child displayed no vital signs. Medical personnel confirmed his death from electric shock. Officials verified that his attention on the game had drawn him into a hazardous location. The tragedy received attention in regional media and was mentioned as one of multiple Pokemon Go-related deaths around the globe where participants staring at their devices wandered into perilous settings. The Minecraft tragedy. On the 19th of July 2015, a teenage boy aged 17 went into a cyber cafe in Pampanga, Philippines. He accessed Minecraft and started what would become an extended gaming period. People present said he engaged in play for approximately 3 consecutive days, catching only short sleeps while seated. Workers became worried after observing he hadn't consumed adequate food and had scarcely shifted position. On day 3, while bending toward his keyboard, his frame went slack. He fell against the keys and remained motionless. Companions contacted emergency services and employees tried basic medical aid. Emergency medical technicians came but confirmed his death where he sat. Regional medical professionals subsequently pointed to heart failure connected to serious exhaustion and fluid loss following non-stop gaming, the Call of Duty police hoax. On the 28th of December 2017, 2 individuals playing Call of Duty in America became involved in a virtual dispute regarding a $150 bet on a match. One gamer, Casey Viner, requested that another person, Tyler Barries, make a false police report about his adversary by contacting authorities with his location. Barries placed a 911 call from Los Angeles, fabricating a hostage crisis in Wichita, Kansas. The location he provided wasn't his competitor's, but rather was home to 28-year-old Andrew Finch, who wasn't involved in their conflict. Law enforcement encircled Finch's residence. As he answered the door, officers commanded him to put his arms up. Disoriented, he shifted somewhat and an officer discharged 1 bullet. Finch died immediately before his relatives. The incident horrified those in gaming communities. Barries ultimately got a 20-year jail term while Viner was given less time. The Wii Fit tragedy. On the 28th of December 2009, 25-year-old Tim Ees from Sittingbourne, Kent got a Nintendo Wii Fit for the Christmas holiday. Eager to use it, he started exercising with the gaming system's workout features on Boxing Day. Relatives subsequently stated that he worked out vigorously for multiple hours using the balance platform and cardio minigames. Later that night, following a training session, he mentioned pains in his chest and breathing difficulties. His mother encouraged him to take it easy. Shortly thereafter, he fell down in their family room. Emergency responders were contacted right away. Even with revival efforts, he was confirmed deceased on site. A formal inquiry determined that Tim experienced an abrupt irregular heartbeat. While uncommon, medical experts observe that vigorous exercise can occasionally cause deadly cardiac irregularities in younger people. The incident gained widespread reporting throughout the UK as the initial documented fatality associated with Wii Fitness gaming, the Counter-Strike tragedy. On the 26th of February 2010, in Chongqing, China, two young men in their 20s were at a cyber cafe engaged in Counter-Strike. They started disputing about tactics and exchanging offensive remarks within the game. People nearby said the disagreement intensified with both men yelling sufficiently loud to draw notice throughout the space. One person rose and shoved the other individual. Personnel stepped in and temporarily kept them apart, but the confrontation resumed beyond the establishment. The assailant took hold of a blade and pierced his adversary numerous times in the torso and stomach area. Onlookers summoned assistance, but the injured man fell on the street surface prior to medical help reaching him. He was confirmed dead there. Law enforcement swiftly apprehended the perpetrator, who acknowledged becoming enraged during their dispute. The homicide gained extensive reporting in Chinese press as yet another instance of cyber cafe conflicts becoming lethal. Regional officials utilized the incident to emphasize the expanding issue of brutality tied to internet gaming in communal locations, the GTA tragedy. On the 3rd of August 2008 in Bangkok, Thailand, an 18-year-old secondary school student named Polwat Chino flagged down a taxi during late evening hours. Upon arrival at his stop, rather than providing payment, he produced a blade and assaulted the driver, who was 54. He pierced him with numerous stab wounds before pulling the corpse out of the vehicle and trying to escape with it. People observing promptly notified authorities, who stopped him. Mere minutes afterward, he admitted that he'd been engaged in grand theft auto and was curious about the sensation of stealing a vehicle in actual life. Detectives reported he exhibited no indications of substance impairment or psychological disorder, simply an obsession with the game. The young man faced charges of homicide and theft. He received a guilty verdict and a sentence of lifelong incarceration. Thai government representatives reacted by briefly removing Grand Theft Auto copies from retail locations, pointing to the murder as proof of harmful impact. The offense garnered worldwide media attention and emerged as among the earliest game-motivated killings, the VR tragedy. On the 21st of December 2017, a 44-year-old individual in Moscow, Russia was in his home wearing a virtual reality device. He navigated throughout his residence while absorbed in gameplay, oblivious to physical barriers surrounding him. Detectives subsequently established that he tripped during play and collided straight into a glass tabletop. The collision broke the surface, creating deep cuts in his body. By himself in the dwelling, he couldn't summon assistance. People living nearby heard a significant crashing noise, but didn't go inside. Many hours passed before relatives discovered him lying in the common area encircled by shattered glass. He had succumbed to blood loss from critical injuries to his skull and throat area. Moscow officials verified the mishap, mentioning that it represented among the initial documented instances of death tied specifically to VR headset usage. The peculiar details generated worldwide interest, with news stories emphasizing the concealed risks of engaging in immersive games within hazardous settings, the World of Warcraft tragedy. On the 1st of February 2007, a 26-year-old individual entered a cyber cafe in Guangzhou, China. He took a position, launched World of Warcraft, and commenced playing. People present afterward reported he scarcely communicated, stopping solely for quick meals of instant noodles or short bathroom trips. The first day elapsed, followed by the second. He stayed at his identical position, vision locked on the display, digits firm on the controller. When the third day arrived, his actions became slower. At 10 o'clock in the morning, he unexpectedly collapsed forward across the table. Fellow customers assumed he'd dozed off. Following multiple minutes with no movement, workers approached to investigate. They attempted to rouse him by shaking his shoulder, but he was limp. Medical emergency services were summoned. Upon their arrival, he had no detectable heartbeat. Medical professionals at the closest hospital pronounced him deceased, attributing it to heart failure associated with severe exhaustion and fluid deficiency after 3 continuous days of gaming, the Halo tragedy. On the 20th of October 2007 in Wellington, Ohio, 16-year-old Daniel Petrick quarreled with his mother and father after they took away his copy of Halo 3. They'd secured the game within a lockbox, thinking he'd developed a perilous addiction. During their absence, Daniel located the hidden key and recovered both the game and his father's firearm. Upon their return, he met them in their living space. He requested they shut their eyes, claiming he'd prepared something unexpected. Rather than that, he lifted the gun and shot. His mother, Susan, perished immediately. His father, Mark, received a bullet to the skull, but lived. Daniel tried to make it appear his father was responsible by positioning the weapon in his grasp. Medical personnel came rapidly and rescued him. Daniel faced arrest and subsequently got sentenced to 23 years to life behind bars. The incident devastated the United States, prompting inquiries about aggressive video games and adolescent fixation, the Pokemon Cliff tragedy. On the 7th of September 2016, 2 individuals in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, were engaged in Pokemon Go along a seaside pathway. The mobile application, utilizing GPS and augmented reality technology, had turned into a worldwide phenomenon only weeks prior. Participants frequently followed the application into unknown territories while pursuing digital creatures. That day, the individuals, 21 and 22 years old, traveled together while gazing at their mobile devices. The path became narrower close to a sharp descent above the ocean. Concentrating on their screens, they didn't perceive the boundary. Both tumbled from an elevation exceeding 65 feet. Emergency personnel received immediate notification from witnesses close by. One individual was located breathing, but severely wounded. The other was found at the cliff's bottom, not responsive. He was pronounced deceased at the medical center a brief time following. Japanese officials encouraged participants to be more aware of their environment, and the incident gained broad attention in domestic and global news outlets, the League of Legends tragedy. On the 14th of November 2012, a 23-year-old individual walked into a cyber cafe in Wuhan, China. He positioned himself at a computer station, accessed League of Legends, and started to engage. Workers mentioned he'd been a consistent patron, occasionally remaining for lengthy periods, but this occasion he stayed seated for approximately 23 consecutive hours without stopping. Fellow customers observed him moving with discomfort, pressing on his chest area, yet he persisted in playing. As morning transitioned to afternoon, his physical condition deteriorated. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he abruptly leaned backward in his seat. His limbs dropped to his sides. The controller fell from his grasp. The worker hurried toward him, speaking his name, but he wasn't responding. Medical emergency personnel were called right away. When they reached him, his heartbeat was weak and uneven. He was taken to a close hospital where physicians tried to revive him. He was confirmed deceased moments later. Medical personnel credited the death to heart failure brought about by weariness, dehydration, and extended stillness. It was among multiple similar occurrences documented in China throughout that time frame, the Lineage 2 tragedy. On the 29th of March 2005 in Shanghai, 2 acquaintances, Qiu Chengwei and Zhu Chaoyuan, participated in the internet game Lineage 2. Qiu lent Zhu a valuable digital weapon, the Dragon Saber. Multiple weeks afterward, Zhu exchanged it for 7,200 yuan without authorization. Enraged, Qiu insisted on its retrieval. After Zhu declined, Qiu informed law enforcement of the stealing. During that period, Chinese legal system didn't acknowledge digital assets as tangible property, and no legal action resulted. On the night of March 29, Qiu confronted Zhu face-to-face. The disagreement transformed into physical violence. Qiu pulled out a blade and pierced Zhu multiple times. Zhu succumbed to his injuries. Chiu was taken into custody at the location. In June 2005, he received a guilty verdict for homicide and was sentenced to life behind bars with parole eligibility. The murder became among the initial prominent incidents connecting arguments over digital items to actual homicide, initiating discussion in China regarding the worth and legal recognition of virtual possessions, the Pokemon train tragedy. On the 23rd of August 2016, in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan, a 39-year-old delivery truck operator was operating his vehicle on a countryside route while engaged in Pokemon Go. His attention diverted by the application, he didn't observe two females traversing at a train crossing. The truck impacted both women on foot. One female, 72 years old, perished on impact. The second female, 60 years old, was transported to a medical facility with life-threatening injuries and passed away soon following. People observing reported the operator never applied brakes prior to collision. Authorities arrested the individual on location. He confessed he'd been playing Pokemon Go while driving. Legal officials charged him with reckless driving causing fatalities. The incident generated nationwide news coverage in Japan, where authorities had previously released public safety alerts regarding the application. After the disaster, Niantic, the application's creator, implemented additional alerts for participants not to operate the app while controlling vehicles. Even with these modifications, the Tokushima collision stands as among the most fatal incidents associated with mobile gaming distraction. If this video appealed to you, become a subscriber for comparable content and don't hesitate to share ideas for the following video in the comments section.